Hello, and welcome to Alchemy Mindset. I'm your host, Anna Hastie, business mindset coach for women and a sound healer. If you are ready to become the most aligned, magnetic, and confident businesswoman you are worthy and deserving of being, then this show is for you. This is where I share everything from mindset, energy, and spirituality, and how to embody your future self in business and life. Sprinkle that with deeply relaxing sound healings and meditations, and you have the Alchemy Mindset podcast. Hit subscribe so you always get the latest episode. Now let's begin. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to this episode number 66 of the Alchemy Mindset podcast. I am your host, Anna Hastie. It's such a pleasure to have you tuning in today. I'm sharing with you how I manifested my biggest speaking gig yet. I know, this is a pretty cool manifestation and one that I really want to share with you because it wasn't a manifestation that happened like that. It's one that took years to evolve. And I want to sort of lead you through the whole thing as a reminder that some manifestations take time, and that sometimes other things have to fall in place for these things to come about. And also how this speaking gig that I manifested flowed within the manifestation process. So I'm not only going to just tell you about how I manifested it, but go through the steps of manifestation just as a reminder in case you need a refresher, or if you've never heard of these steps before, or you're familiar with them but you're not so sure, or even if you've got your own manifestation process, amazing. Because I want to show you how this all fitted in together, right? Now, first of all, this isn't the only speaking gig I've ever had. Since I've moved into the realm of sound bath healings and mindset coaching, I've had plenty of opportunities to do speaking gigs, workshops, retreats, presentations, but they've usually been on a smaller audience number, like, for example, maybe 20, maybe it was recorded and then it was going to be a Zoom link sent out later. I don't know how many people tuned into that kind of thing. So in this case, I manifested a speaking gig where I stood in front of approximately, I can't remember exactly how many people there were, but this was a room of approximately 200, maybe 250 people. And this speaking gig, as I call it, was an opportunity to hold a presentation for the Women's Leadership Forum, which was back in March. And this forum was held by the Broome Chamber of Commerce, and it was specifically for women in the Broome business community. So it was women from all sorts of businesses or entrepreneurial backgrounds. It wasn't just solo business. It was perhaps women who worked for larger companies, education, the health sector, not-for-profit, everywhere, private, etc. Maybe they ran their own business. And it was such an incredible opportunity. I just could not pass it up because I went to, many years ago, the very first leadership forum. Now, I can't remember when this was. I think it was somewhere, I'd say like COVID was happening, but it was maybe when we'd come out of our first lockdown, or maybe it was even a year later from that. I don't remember the exact date, but I remember going to it. I remember the venue. It was really fun to meet and network with other people. There was a lot of familiar speakers on stage, such as Elsa Mitchell, Tony from the Social Project, Flick from the Homestead Hub, and Hats by Felicity, which I interviewed her on one of my podcast episodes, so just wind that back again. There was also Melissa Price, she's an MP, and just a whole list of other amazing women, all speaking about different experiences, lessons, and sharing insightful and meaningful stories in terms of creating leadership and inspiring other women in business. Now, when I saw who was on stage and how it was all run, I sat there and I went to myself, I said, Anna, one day that's going to be you. Like, you could do that. Like, you could get on stage and you could speak. You could do that. That could be you one day. And in that time, I went through my full creative imagination where I imagined myself coming out on stage and doing a sound bath presentation of some sort, but coming on stage and being really funny about it, like in the same way as, do you remember Sandra Bullock in Miss Congeniality when she came out on stage to play those water glasses and she was wearing like that German Oktoberfest outfit, that little dress and the lederhosen and everything. And I kind of imagine myself coming out on stage sort of being really funny and a bit comical and a bit sort of like, inspired by that, just to make everybody a bit lighthearted and have a bit of a laugh. Honestly, that's where my mind goes sometimes. It's very creative. It's a bit wild. And I sort of imagine myself being on stage and sharing some sort of important message and playing the singing bowls and just feeling so amazing from it and just sharing what I know with Broom community and thinking to myself, that could be me. I could so totally do this. Now, had someone knocked on my shoulder that particular day and said, Anna, we're going to run this whole event again tomorrow because it was such a success and we've got more people who want to come, but we're missing a presenter. One of the presenters can't make it and we want you to step in. Can you do that? I probably would have squeaked yes, freaked out, and maybe not have done a great job. Maybe I would have fluffed it, failed it. Maybe it would have pulled off okay, but really deep down thinking, no, I can't. I just can't. I just don't know if I could. I probably would have pulled it off, but I don't know. And I think it's because at that moment in time, I didn't have the experience or the knowledge of what I know now to have been able to hold space for a room of over 200, 250 people and really lead something that was truly inspiring, meaningful, and in alignment with whatever the theme was. Now, I think in that previous forum, they didn't really have a theme, but the one that I got to speak at did. And it was all about confidence. And they had each section or segment was all around about confidence. The section that I spoke in was about restoring confidence. Now, let's have a quick review. So having that realization in my mind, when I got the email this year saying, would you like to speak at this forum? This is what we'd like you to do. This is the theme. I immediately said yes, because I knew within my heart I was ready for it. I'd had the experience of speaking to other people and standing up and holding presentations and space and talking a lot more on mindset. Also, the presentation I gave had to happen now because back then I didn't quite have all the information and knowledge to share as to what I do now. And the same with the bowls and the way I play and all those things had to happen now because back then I was still probably pretty much fresh out of the packet and just didn't quite have that right experience perhaps that I had now. So now, just on a side note, next episode, I'm actually going to share with you that exact presentation I gave because it's a really good one about restoring confidence and how your subconscious mind works. And plus throw in a couple of extra things that the women on the day at the forum didn't actually get to hear or receive. So I'm really excited to share that with you because I read the notes just recently and I thought, I have to share this. This cannot just stay as a Google file or a Google Doc on my computer. No, it has to come out and be shared again. So let's look at these steps in the manifestation process. How did my manifestation marry up with the manifestation process? Now, for a lot of us, we believe the manifestation is basically decide what you want, believe that it's coming, and receive it. Okay? That's those sort of 3 steps as to what happens. But in actual fact, there's kind of like 8 in the world of manifestation that I live and work in. There's 8. So it starts with create the vision. What is it that you want? What are you going to call in for your life? Create this vision. Number 2 is have the awareness. Notice what comes up around this vision. What limiting beliefs or feelings or sensations come up when you think about what you want? So in other words, if I wanted a speaking gig, how did I feel about it? Did I have that belief that I could do it? Did I have any feelings or sensations come up that may have suggested that perhaps, even though I wanted it, it wasn't going to happen? So that's where you want to clear and release those limiting or constrictive beliefs, feelings, or sensations that aren't serving your vision. So if there's something deep down sitting there going, you can't do that, you're not good enough, you can't have that, why do you think you can do that, etc., 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 that's where you need to clear and release it. That's where mindset work comes in, that's where energy work comes in, etc. So that's step 4 now is rewiring and replacing it. So rewire all those limiting beliefs into something that is really supportive to what you want to achieve. Rewire your mindset, rewire your energy, rewire your beliefs, and replace them. Step 5, review the vision. Now, how does the vision feel for you? Does it still feel like it's in an alignment? Or because you have changed and rewired those beliefs, cleared those beliefs, that now actually, in fact, you want something else, or it's slightly tweaked, or it actually needs to be deleted and it's not even valid anymore. So tune in. Does that vision still feel right for you? Because here's the kicker. You can change your manifestation. You can change what it is that you're desiring. You can change what you want at any time. If what you want no longer feels right, or it's not in alignment with what you're doing, or it needs to be shifted or changed slightly, do it. You don't have to stick to the thing that you set out before originally because that's what I started with. No, it's your life, your freedom, your choice. Change it. Next one is embodiment. Number 6, embody the version of yourself who's already living the reality that you want. So the identity, the beliefs, the values, behaviors, the thoughts, the actions, and the environment. So who is you that is already living that reality that you want? Who is it? Who is it? Identify that. And how can you start integrating those elements of yourself, those elements into yourself now, right? So embody, like really embrace and live that version of you who's already got the thing that you want. Now you're thinking, how does that work? Well, for example, just quickly, if the version of me who wanted to be a speaker, how would she act? How would she speak? How would she talk? How would she present herself? What other things would I be doing in my day-to-day life? What other things would I be doing in my business life that would reflect the version of me that does speaking gigs? That kind of thing, right? Number 7, this is a really important one, people. Release the how. Release how exactly it's going to happen and trust that it will. And number 8 is take inspired action. The law of action works with the law of attraction. And this is often the missing key step. You can't just sit there and go, I'm going to be a speaker on stage, and not do the things that you need to do to lead you towards that moment when you get to be a speaker on stage. So follow those intuitive nudges and moments where you need to take action. Not taking action is not bringing the manifestation to life. This is where you work as a co-creator with the universe. You're co-creating. The universe has already got your result and it's waiting to drop it in, but it wants to see that you're taking the action steps to help align that drop in with where you are now. So let's review these manifestation process with my manifestation. First of all, number 1, create the vision. Yes. I actually often see myself standing on stage in a different venue, in a different place. It's a massive big auditorium. It's a dimly lit audience. There's like a spotlight on me and I'm standing on stage, and the topic or the theme of the day or whatever it is, the event is called the art of Zen, or even that's maybe just a topic that I talk on. Don't ask me. I was years ago speaking to Francois and I said, yeah, I'd love to do speaking and be on stage. And he goes, yeah, really? I said, yeah. And I keep seeing myself doing a presentation. And he goes, oh, what's it about? And that was the title that just came in. I'm like, I have no idea what that means. I don't know where that came from, but I see myself in that moment a lot. So yes, in creating this vision of standing on stage at one of the leadership forums in Broome, I'd already put myself out there. I'd gone full sensory. I created my Sandra Bullock identity to play singing bowls, which, side note, I did not repeat or do on the actual day of this forum this year. No, I had a really great outfit that I'd chosen and had my hair done. I looked amazing. I felt great. I did not look like Sandra Bullock from Miss Congeniality, but I'd already pitched myself full body sensory going on stage. How did I feel? What did I look like? What was I doing? What were the bowls, like the audience, the room, everything. And even when I found out that this forum was being held at a completely different venue here in Broome, I still put myself out there. What did it look like? How was I going to look? How was I going to feel? I was putting that intention of my energy already in the room, picturing myself. So yes, I created the vision. Now, did I have any limiting beliefs or anything that need to be cleared or rewired and replaced? In terms of that, I believe the universe was allowing me to have the experiences that I needed to lead me up to this moment in time where I was asked if I could be part of this forum. I think the beliefs that I'd slowly rewired over time was about building my confidence to speak, was about me having the experience of speaking to a room without a microphone, because that's kind of what happened, and also speaking with clarity and with purpose. It's sort of a bit like on my podcast, I guess, because I always speak with clarity and purpose on this show. So yeah, I felt like all the things that needed to be cleared and rewired and replaced had happened over time. And that's been also through all the mindset work I have done on myself between that moment in time and now. And I'm going to say this, I constantly work on my mindset and energy. There isn't like a moment when I'm not. And even when I feel like I'm not, I get a reminder that I need to go back and maybe do some more. So I feel like that's a big tick. 2, 3, 4, and 5 steps done. Embodiment. As I said earlier, number 6 is embodiment. And at the first forum, yes, I did. I fully imagined myself on stage. So I was already in alignment with that vision and how I was going to be on stage. Now, the next part, number 7, release the how. How was it going to happen? All right, I had no idea. I had no idea if I would be called up the following year or the year after. And in actual fact, last year when I saw that the forum had happened, and it totally missed my radar, largely because I was probably still in maternity leave, I actually had this moment within me where I was like, I missed that. And how come I didn't get to speak on stage? How come they didn't ask me? I literally had those feelings go through my mind and my body. And I think that for me was a moment and a reminder of, do you still want to do this? Yes. So checking back in with that vision. Are you ready for it? In some ways I was at that moment, but I wasn't because I was on maternity leave. And it really did show that I was ready for this. Like I was ready and I was feeling a bit jaded that I didn't get asked. Oh, Anna, seriously. But it was a really good reminder to go, well, that was what I was still wanting. I was a bit bummed I wasn't part of it in some way, shape or form, attending or speaking or whatever. But I also had to remind myself, look, Anna, you're on maternity leave. You can't do something when you're not actually available to do it. Okay. So again, how was this going to happen? Now, here's the thing. I completely had forgotten up until the reminder of last year that this was something that I really wanted to do. Maybe every now and again it came back into my mind, but it was never something that I sat and focused on daily as a ritual, as a sort of, I must do this obsession. It just happened when it was going to happen. And again, the universe knew that it couldn't happen until I felt confident to do so, that the stars aligned in terms of I wasn't pregnant, I wasn't on maternity leave, I had the availability, and that in some ways deep down inside of me, I had the skills, I had the knowledge, and the presentation I gave could only have fallen into place according to what I knew, what I'd recently learned, the ongoing study and experiences that I've been generating over the last few years, as well as the meditation. Now, that meditation didn't drop in until I'd say a couple of weeks before. I knew there was going to be something. Sometimes I just have to wait for these things to drop in. And that meditation couldn't have happened any earlier. It had to happen in the way that it did. So the how is something we often have to just simply let go of in any manifestation process. If you are sitting there constantly thinking, this is what I want, but how the feck is it going to happen? How am I going to make it happen? How's it going to come to me? Blah, blah, blah. Even alongside the when is it going to come to me? You are getting in the way of the universe and its co-creational process with you to bring it about. All you ever have to focus on is what you want and why you want it. What do you want? Why do you want it? What are your beliefs around it? Is there anything mindset or energy, embodiment-wise, holding you back? Are you taking those inspired actions to make it happen? Not necessarily make it happen, but work towards it happening. So, for example, if you want to make so many X amount of sales or attract so many clients into your course or your class or your program, what are you doing to make that happen? Are you generating business, interest? Are you putting yourself out there to share what you're offering with people? You have to take steps to make these things happen. You can't just sit there and meditate and hope it will. You have to do some freaking work, all right? You have to. Manifestation is a little bit of work, but it can be really cool. So it took a while to eventuate, as I said, because I needed to wait until I was ready to do that. And the universe was like, babe, I know you want to do this. I know it's coming and we're going to bring more of these opportunities to you, but you need the experience first so that you can feel confident within yourself. So I just let go of the how. I didn't even really think about it. It's just one of those in the background kind of manifestations, would be amazing if it happened type things that came into my lap, and I'm so grateful for it. Now, if I did want this to come quicker, so going back to those last two steps, the 7 and 8 of not releasing the how, but also taking inspired action, I could have the following year approached the Broom Chamber and said, hey, whatever your topic or session is, I'm here and I'm available and I'd love to share what I know, and got myself up there. Or I could have reached out to other people to do more opportunities, to do speaking, sharing workshops and things like that. Either way, if I wanted it to happen sooner, I could have taken actions to promote myself and reach out in order to get that experience or get up onto that stage the following year. But in some ways, it wasn't a priority. So it was a kind of a manifestation that could just take a backseat and it would happen when it would happen. So there you go. That's how I manifested my biggest speaking gig ever. Yet and ever. Ever and yet. I cannot wait. I'm honestly going to say it now. I'm declaring it right here, right now, as I'm recording this. At 5:55 p.m. on the 15th of the 5th. Amazing numbers here. 5 is such a powerful number. Wow. Here I am declaring. I'm ready for more speaking opportunities such as that. I am ready and willing and able to share my knowledge of sound and mindset in a way that's enlightening and impactful to those who need to hear it right now. And I'm ready for more opportunities as I've had within the Leadership Forum. Bring it on, dear universe. I am so ready to share all of this with so many more people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste. Wow. So if you are actually interested in getting your hands on this confidence meditation and sound bath that I shared at the Women's Leadership Forum this year, I'm putting the link in the show notes below. Yay! And just for you, dear podcast listener, just because you've tuned in and listened to this episode, you're going to get an awesome little discount off its regular price. And that's only a discount for you as a listener. When I share this sound bath and meditation to the wider community through email and through social media and however else I preach it, there's going to be no discount. Only for those who listen to this podcast. That's pretty cool, right? So if you got all the way to the end, so have a look in the show notes. There is the discount code there. Get your little ears and your mindset onto this amazing meditation. It was a beautiful one that I shared on the day, and I actually shared it again in a sound bath, and it was well received second time round. So check that out. I've also got an additional EFT tapping script, Transform Overwhelm into Unwavering Inner Confidence. So that's a great script to help boost your confidence and really step out of those feelings of overwhelm and into unwavering confidence. So there's a tapping script that you can just follow and read out yourself with directions, or you can watch the video and tap along with me. That's also available. So I'm putting the link down there for you as well, for you to get your hands and your ears and your mindset onto that little fun resource. And I will say this, one last final thing. I do actually listen to a lot of meditations and tapping scripts that I've purchased or received from other people previously, and I often go back to them a lot when I need to boost my mindset. It's like literally in my toolkit for things that I need when I feel like my mindset is getting wobbly, when I'm feeling a bit flaky, when I feel like things are starting to crumble. I actually go back to a lot of these meditations, as well as meditations I've created for myself to help support me with my mindset, my energy, and my embodiment, so I can be even more confident and focused within the work that I do. Anyway, let me know what you think of this episode. How do you go about manifesting? Do any of those manifestation steps ring true for you? And what has been the biggest thing that you've manifested yet? I'd love to hear and know. You can message me on Instagram at Anna F. Hastie, or send me an email, hello@annahastie.com. I would love to find out. I would love to celebrate your manifestations and everything in between. So have a fabulous day or evening or whatever you're doing right now. Thank you so much for listening. And always please support me by just giving me a wee little review on any of the platforms that you're listening to, because it really does help me as a small business owner share my love, my mindset, and my messaging out to more people. Thank you so much. As always, I'm so blessed to have you tuning in and listening to this episode, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to today's episode. Please rate and review this podcast so that it can continue to thrive and reach more listeners. I love to know who my listeners are, so please screenshot this episode and tag me on Instagram at Anna F. Hastie. And I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode.